Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man, Frank SCALISH. Snow on the ground in Ohio, not in Oklahoma. We're in the 50s and ready to get back and at it with another live show. Frank, how you been?
I am very healthy.
That's good. We got a full house today.
We have
the one and only, and we'll just bring it in because we got stories to tell. I've never been. I was mad yesterday when I talked to you, Frank. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
And you were shockingly calm on this. Now, Todd, and then our special guest, there's Todd right there. Todd, what's going on?
How we doing, Matt?
Good. I guess hope happy Thanksgiving, and we are in the full Christmas spirit now.
Yes,
I guess we've been in, according to the commercials on TV, we've been in the Christmas spirit for 2 months.
We have. And then we are also going to bring in a special guest making his debut on Day 4, Sturgeon Bay smallmouth expert, Cody Phillips. Cody, thanks for jumping on Day 4 with the man, Frank SCALISH, and the prop man, Todd Bucknell.
And it's going to be a fun show today because we have, nothing really planned.
Lots of useful information.
Yes, no, we actually, today's show is going to be cover a wide variety of things. Should I premise it?
Premise why we got Todd and Cody on the show today.
Okay.
And then we'll get into what made you madder than a hornet.
Yeah, yesterday, God almighty.
So,
yeah, exactly. So today's show, what we're going to do, because I, like probably many other bass boat guys, have to keep my boat outside all winter. And I fish until the lakes freeze and I can't put the boat in the water. So last year I was fortunate. I was able to fish all the way through till January 10th. This year, it's not the way things are going now. I don't know if we're going to have a long winter season, but so we're going to talk about things you should do to store your boat. Well, not store it, because that's not really true, because I use it all winter. But if you have to keep your boat outside in the winter, we're going to talk about what you need to do to the boat itself, what you need to do to the motor, et cetera, et cetera. And the Todd's going to cover a lot of the motor stuff. I'm going to cover a lot of the boat stuff. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the prop, and Cody's got a story to tell. I'll have a story to tell, and then I'm forgetting something important. Oh, and then towards the end of the show, I want to get into how to fish in the wintertime, but not the lures and stuff you're going to throw. What you need to do in the boat, what you need to be careful of, so you don't have a mishap on the water. Because if anybody ever fell in a lake in January, you know what I'm talking about. And I've gone overboard in the dead of winter. So I want to talk about a few things like that. So without further ado,
Cody, you fish Sturgeon Bay. You ever been in the wintertime?
I have never been in, thankfully, but
until this year now. Now that you said that,
this weekend it's going to be like a high of 38, and I'll be out there.
Yeah, I see you guys fishing the Great Lakes in the winter. That looks like an entirely different animal than it is going out on the pond here chasing crappie.
It's definitely different, like being prepared, like Frank's going to talk about, is essential, because definitely can be life or death out there very fast. Big wet, cold.
All right, before we get into it, I do want to share the screen. This was brought to I was just perusing the internet and I saw a chance to win $500 in new lures on LureNet. You just click on that. This signs you up for the LureNet newsletter, right? That it's got all sorts of good stuff, all sorts of tips and tricks and tactics and deals and stuff from you and other LureNet anglers.
That is correct. This is for the new newsletter people that haven't signed up currently. You sign up for the newsletter, then your name will automatically go in a drawing to win the $500 new product giveaway.
Now, there is a question that you have to answer. Are you human? As you can see right there. And I, based on that check mark, answered that successfully.
You did well.
Yeah. This thing ends today, which is November 30th, 2023.
Right.
1 day left right here. So if you aren't registered, this is 100% worth going in and registering for the LureNet news. Now they are going to email you, but it's LureNet stuff. So it's an email you don't mind getting.
Right. And then LureNet's not just about the, buying lures and stuff. There's how-to videos. There's a lot of instructional information on LureNet, the bait school videos, most of which I do, actually give you legitimate, truthful tips on baits, how to fish them, blah, 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 not too.
I don't know if you're already previously signed up, Pete. I think you're out on this one, even if you are a human.
Yeah, that's right. Robots need not apply.
All right. So I talked to, we could say this word. Frank texted me, could you believe this shit, with a picture yesterday? I'm going to go full screen. And then, Todd, you're probably going to be a good one to jump in on this because you've seen him probably in this state more than I have in person. But, Frank, I thought you were going fishing yesterday.
Yeah, me too. So here's the deal. We wind up getting about 6 inches of snow the night before. And aside from the fact that my wife's car can't get up the driveway if there's, a dusting of snow on it, I have to go shovel the driveway. But I can't get my boat out or up the driveway if there's snow on it, because at the bottom of my driveway, I got a big bump at the bottom of the driveway that the boat's got to get up over, and then it's just a pain in the ass. So anyway, I spent 2.5 hours shoveling the driveway down to the concrete. Okay. And I look at the forecast, and of course it changes. So we're going to have, 10 to 20 mile an hour winds. And it's going to be, 17 degrees when I leave to go fish.
Gross.
So I decide that I'm going to stall for about an hour or two, let the temperature get up to a balmy 19, and then, make my way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited because ordinarily I'm bass fishing now, because I love wintertime bass fishing. So ordinarily I'm bass fishing, but I had gone out a week or so ago on a different body of water, and I didn't have any of my crappie stuff with me because I was bass fishing. Didn't have any of my crappie stuff with me. And I came over a school of crappie, and the crappie were so big. Now I have Gen 1, Lowrance Gen 1 at the moment, soon to be upgraded, but Gen 1 at the moment. And you could see the fish, and you could, because I'm used to seeing it, I can tell which ones are bigger, which ones are smaller, et cetera, et cetera. I rolled over this school of crappie, and I have never seen this on my Gen 1. They looked exactly like a crappie. I mean, the fins, everything. So my heart starts pounding because I know these ones are big, giant, mat-sized crappie. And so all of a sudden I go, I could tie my boat off to the dock, unhook the trailer, fly home, get my crappie stuff, fly back. And then I'm like, no, that'll waste way too much time. I'm just going to bass fish. So I bass fished that day, caught them. I didn't catch any giants. I talked to Cody after and told him I didn't catch any big ones. And then, so yesterday, I am so pumped because I'm going solely and totally for those crappie. And I go to uncover the boat in the morning, and because the snow was wet and heavy, and I took the snow off the cover the night before to make sure that it wouldn't, because the snow gets heavy and slushy, and then it melts, and then it freezes a block of water on your cover. Anyway, so I get all the snow off the cover. I go to uncover the boat, and the cover's frozen like a vacuum pack seal. I can't even fold it over to roll it down the boat to get it off the boat. And so I'm starting to get annoyed because when we were I'm going on a tangent. That's my ADHD going, because when we were looking for a house way back in the day when I was started fishing the elites, I told my wife, I'm not living in the Heights, and whatever house we find has to have a garage big enough to hold my bass boat. And so here I am today living in the Heights, looking at my bass boat in the driveway because it doesn't fit in the garage. So I'm already MFing everything, and I haven't even got the trailer hooked to the boat, to the truck yet. And I'm already starting to, unwind. So the long and short of it is I get everything hooked up, and then my trailer latch is frozen. I can't get it down. So I spray it with WD-40, bang the crap out of it, get it loose, get everything working, hook everything up. And I'm finally ready to roll. So I pull out the driveway, and of course the streets are a salty, slushy mess. And I know my boat's going to be covered with the crap. But I don't care, because when I get it in the water, most
giant crop and giant crop here
and
just
slabbers,
mondos.
Yeah, slabbers. So I am really stoked, even though at the time I got halfway to the lake and we were at 19 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, this is going to be great. So I get to the lake, and when I come into the lake, I see part of the lake and it's open. There's no ice, and I'm like, I'm gonna wail on them. And so I go around to the boat ramp, and I'm like, what? And I'm like in complete disbelief. They plowed the lot, and they plowed all the snow on the frickin' boat ramp. So I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I am here, the water's open, and I don't have a shovel.
I've seen the picture. There's like 3 foot of snow, about 2 foot thick, in front of the entire boat ramp, and the parking lot is pristine.
Yeah.
It's like a wall. It's like straight out of Game of Thrones, like the northern wall.
It's the Great Chinese Wall. I swear to God, I was so pissed. So I'm like, the first thing I do is I text Matt the picture. I took a picture of it. I text Matt the picture. I'm like, you believe this shit? I can't get the boat in the water. And so don't show the picture, Matt. Don't show
I'm
All
not.
right.
I'm just pulling up the conversation.
Yeah. So
these idiots plowed the snow in front of the ramp.
and I'm sure you left out a word or two in front of idiots.
I said, WTF, start digging. Didn't bring a shovel. Start calling the city. And you did all those things.
I did. So I'm leaving, and I'm really pissed. So I called and said, who's responsible for plowing the boat ramp parking lot? And they said, well, there's several people that do it. What's the problem? I said, they plowed all the snow in front of the stinking boat ramp. And the lady goes, are you caught on the lake? And I said, no, I'm trying to put my boat in the water, but I've got 9 feet of snow blocking me. You know what I mean? And so she said, well, we can't have the people come out right away to open up the ramp. And I said, well, I'm not waiting here. Just have them open up the ramp. And so, I had to be nice to her because she didn't plow the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at, Punderson? Were you at Punderson?
You're about to get kicked off, Todd, if you keep guessing the name of the lakes. Frank treats these things like his firstborn children.
Sorry.
We're going to have to lose Todd right now.
Look how easy it is. There he is. Oh, what was he talking about? We don't know. What?
I got Blair Witched.
Oh God. So anyway, that was my that was a real happy day. So I wound up coming home and painting lures and emptying out some of the non-essential tackle in the boat, which I'm going to do after the show today.
That was November 27th was actually Kyle was wondering. November 27th was Snowplow Driver Appreciation Day.
Is that a true thing?
Yeah, no, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, well, I don't appreciate that guy one bit. at all. He ruined my visions of grandeur.
That's only in Wisconsin. I wonder if there's one in I don't know if there's one in Ohio. Can we say that it was in Ohio without you getting upset?
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
I'm just making sure.
But yeah, so I was really that was just absolutely.
I needed that picture. I wanted that picture.
Usually I got it, Todd. I'll sell it to you.
I appreciate that.
I also had a very disappointing venture to the lake as well. 2 days ago, got done with the show, and I was like, "Hey, I'm first day of the year that I'm going to go catch the giant crappie." And you've been to the lake, Frank. Like I said, just like there's no need to name your lake, there's no need to name mine.
Unless Todd wants to help you out with that.
Unless Todd wants to start making guesses. You want to get on Google Earth there, Todd? Anyway, get down. Water looks great. Good wind. Got a buddy with me that's never done it, and I gave him the old, oh yeah, just wait. Just like I did with Frank.
Yeah.
He had no idea what he was expecting. Dude, I fished for 4 hours. We saw 2 of the suckers. Neither of them wanted to eat, and we zeroed. Same lake that we caught multiple high, a 298, a 296, multiple 2+ pounders out of. We saw 2 in 4 hours, Frank.
Yeah, we were scratching 3 pounders like it was our job.
I was shocked.
That's and here, look, that's what got me addicted into this crappie game, to be honest with you. Well, everybody knows it already.
Water temp was right at 50.
Yeah, you're still warm. You're still warm, man.
All right, you guys want to jump into this? The reason why we have Todd and Cody on the 140th day 4 with Frank SCALISH.
Yeah, let's do it. So basically, what we're going to start, we'll start out with Todd. You want to start out with the motors, or you want me to start out with?
You tell me what you want to do.
For flow, let's
not as easy as it seems, is it, Frank?
No, for flow. No, you're brilliant, dude. You're brilliant at it. For flow's sake, I'll start out with because everybody knows now my boat's outside.
Yeah.
So we'll just start out with that. I'm going to cover boat. Todd's going to cover motor. This is for outsides. If you have to store your boat outside or in an unheated garage. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get all the salt off your boat, because any changes in temperature that may create moisture, that salt's going to keep corroding everything all the time that you're not clean, that it's not clean. So you want to remove all the salt. The next thing, in the wintertime, I open all my live wells and I leave them open. Never try to close them in the winter if they're open, because things could freeze in there and you could crack things. If you don't open them, water gets caught in the pipe. That water will expand. It will have nowhere to go. So it cracks the pipes or it'll crack your pump. So you always leave them open. Always take the plug out of the boat so it's free draining. Full tank of gas with an additive. Even though you're going to use the boat throughout the winter, you still want the full tank of gas. You still want the additive. You don't want any condensation in the tank. The next thing I do is I cover the boat tightly and securely. I want it very rigid, so any moisture, rain, snow, etc. rolls off the cover. Now, the snow doesn't always roll off the cover. In more instances than not, it just piles up like it does on your car. Anytime the snow gets on the cover of the boat, I go out and take it off the cover. I broom it all off the cover of the boat. I don't ever leave the snow on it. Because what happens is it sags your cover down. It creates a lot of pressure on your windshield. Anything that covers on, the weight of the snow creates tons of pressure. And as snow builds up, it's insulating, so the bottom layer starts to melt a little bit, and it turns your cover into a frozen block, as you heard from my story earlier. Oil the tongue assemblies. I put dielectric grease in all the plugs to stop any of the salt from getting in there and corroding everything. I also take my graphs inside. Any removable electronics you have, take them inside. Just not that it could hurt them, but why take that chance? It's simple to remove your electronics. And then the other thing is, in the wintertime, I literally have a minimal amount of tackle in the boat. I only carry what's necessary. And as you fish in the wintertime, you know that your lure choices become narrower and narrower. So you don't need, you're not going to need your top waters and crap like that in the boat. So only keep what you need in the boat. That's really the best advice that I can give you for storing it outside. Now, if you're in a garage, you don't have to cover the boat. In fact, if I could get my boat in the garage, I would not cover it because I want it to breathe. So I wouldn't cover it if I had a garage that I can get it in. As far as that goes, I don't do anything to my motor except make sure all the water's out of the cooling system. So, but I'll get into that later, but I don't do anything to my motor. Now, if you're not going to use it for an extended amount of time, this is where Todd's going to give you some really good advice.
All right. So the biggest thing I can tell you, especially up here, where guys are going to be sitting 4, 5, 6 months without using the boat. First thing I like to do, charge the battery, make sure the battery's 100% charged. And then if you've got a battery switch it to off, pretty easy. If you don't have a battery switch, simply disconnect the negative first. That won't get any play or anything to the ECU or your computer control.
Which
so
will slowly bleed it.
Yep.
Okay.
And that way the battery's nice and fresh, and you're good there. We'll deal with 2-stroke motors first. First thing you want to do, obviously, if you're carbureted, you can simply run all the gas out by unplugging the line. And with the motor on a muffs or a hose before you put it away, let the motor run until it runs no more. All the gas is out of the carburetors, out of the float bowls. Gas right now is not real good, obviously, with everything that they're putting in there. That can varnish the bowls, stick a float for the old school guys. So let it run out, and then you're good to go. You want to trim the motor all the way in and raise the bow, get all the water out of the lower unit. Make sure there's nothing inside there and it's dry. So if you get into freezing temperatures, you've got no ice expanding in the lower unit that could crack the housing. Okay. Also for the 2-stroke guys, I like to use just a regular fogging oil. Doesn't make any difference what brand. Undo the plugs, squirt the fogging oil in there, rotate it with the key switch, let the fogging oil mix around, get all the cylinders nice and lubricated. Just put the spark plugs back in, finger tight. And now the block is ready to go. You're lubricated, your lower unit's ready to go, and your gas is out of the carburetors. If you're fuel injected, you're okay. No problem there. But the biggest thing I can tell you is if you're going to be in a situation where you're in a inside arrangement for the boat storage, but you get the constant, it's 30 degrees out, then it's 50 degrees out, then it's 22 degrees out. That tank needs to be all the way filled to the neck. Cannot stress that enough. You will have condensation that will arise in the tank, plastic tank, aluminum tank, whatever it is. So you want to make sure that that water or condensation has nowhere to go or form because the gas is all the way up totally full. That is so key. So many guys get down to the lake the first time in a year and they go to hit it. And even if they put the fuel treatment in or whatever, if you've got a 40-gallon tank and there's 20 gallons in there, but you've got all that moisture inside there, whatever stable or whatever additive that you're using, you still have water in there. And with the quality of the ethanol in these gases nowadays at 10 or 15%, that ethanol with the water is an absolute killer. So biggest thing is I can tell you is definitely make sure that that tank is filled all the way up.
Beauty. Yeah, because people don't realize that, a teaspoon of water in your fuel could be an issue.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And you can let it set then for months.
Absolutely.
With those simple
Yep,
things.
that's what we do with all the boats here. And first thing in the in the springtime, They'll make a little bit of smoke from the fogging oil, but you know that the cylinders were nice and lubricated from sitting for 4 or 5 months. And you know that you've got gas in there that's got no water in there that you're able to run and not have any issues.
I'd never heard of fogging oil. I'm looking it up. I see Starbright has fogging oil. AMS oil has fogging oil. Stabil has fogging. It's a pretty universal thing.
Very, very, very common. Now, I will say this, Matt. The guys with the newer 4-stroke motors, since we're crankcase injected, just like your car, you've got an oil circulation pump and you're pumping oil in the cylinders instead of mixing the oil with the gas. So I would say the fogging oil is more prominent for the 2-strokes than it would be for a 4-stroke.
Yep. People want to know if you're using 100% gas. If you're putting in the expensive stuff, do you still have to top that sucker off?
Yes, absolutely, because it has nothing to do with the quality of the gas. It has to do with the condensation that can form in the tank. Now, what I like to do is we've got a couple stations around here that, even though it's a little bit less octane than I like to run, we've got a couple of stations here that'll have 90 octane but no ethanol. So I will fill the tank all the way up with non-ethanol gas just to make sure that no condensation and no ethanol can be a negative side effect next spring.
Yep. And then a bunch of guys want to know, hey, are you bringing lithium batteries inside if you're in the Great White North?
If they're disconnected, it shouldn't be a problem. Usually the batteries are okay unless they're on the ground, someplace that's super, super cold, like a cement floor, something of that nature. But the battery should be fine being left in there.
Cam wants to know, does it help to crank the motor and blow out all the water after? That's a good one. I have a question about this too. Like, you see some of the guys that go and do it after they're out of the water when it's cold out. Or is that just for show?
If it's out of the water, I don't like to do that because of the water pump. But the minute if you want to leave it on the ramp, the last time you're pulling it out and trim that motor all the way in and make sure that all that water is draining out of that lower unit and pulling the plug out of the boat at the same time, that's going to guarantee you that you've got no residual water in the lower unit or the boat.
Now, Cody, are you doing all this stuff on the Great Lakes with your rig and stuff every time, or are you keeping this thing ready to roll the entire year?
No, I try not to winterize because we can pretty much fish here up until late December.
Okay.
And March 1st, I got a power plant lake that I'm at every year. So my boat maybe sits for 2 months at the most. But, you know, I'm lucky and I do have stations around me with ethanol-free fuel. So that is one, you know, less thing I got to worry about. I top off ethanol-free. I always check my lower unit just to make sure there's no water in it because my boat does sit outside too. It's always covered sitting outside. So I'm brushing snow, you know, everything that Frank's got to do. That's basically what I'm doing too.
Okay, so here.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying, how long? Okay, like if you're a guy like Cody who's going to fish all the time, how long is too long to not winterize it and then to winterize it to do all the stuff you're talking about? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? He said maybe 2 months. Like, at what point are you like, all right, I need to go through these steps and make sure all this, even if I'm not going to go, you know, just a couple weeks in between trips if I have a power plant lake? Or is this something that in the winter you got to spend an extra hour to make sure this stuff happens because all it takes is 24 hours of sub-zero to really screw up some stuff?
I would say it has more to do with the temperature, Matt, fluctuation with the temperature. So I would say a month or two, like in Cody's case, is long enough to get that swing. Warm day, cold day, warm day, cold day. Now he's using non-ethanol fuel. As long as he's keeping that battery charged up and that fuel is topped off, he's going to be in good shape. But what I was going to say, some of the other guys that are keeping the boats outside that are not using it, I've even had guys buy an electric blanket and they wrap it around the gear case. So if you're concerned that you did not get all the water out of there, they can put a tarp around it. You plug it in, it's low voltage, plug it around the midsection, the lower unit. It'll keep it at like 40 degrees, whatever it is. And you're going to make sure you're never going to get freezing temperatures to the lower unit.
I would say allegedly, I don't know if that's is that something that you would officially recommend, or is that just an option? Should they choose to at their own discretion? Well,
they've got outdoor stuff too that you use for your gutters and for your roof.
I got you.
So any type of heater wire, I say blanket, but it's more of a heater wire for gutters and roofs. You know, that kind of
things, all sorts of northern stuff that in Oklahoma we don't have to monkey with down here.
That is true.
All right. I know, Frank, you wanted to also talk about some on the water safety, and this is kind of some things like that.
Yeah, we'll talk on the water safety, but you know what's funny? Cody was relating a story about the rough water prop.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, especially on the big water, is a really good safety element. So I'm not going to step on Cody's.
We're talking about the 5-blader that you guys worked
Yes.
on for so long that Todd was on a couple months ago and talked about.
Correct. So
great show. I don't know if Scott knows what number that show was, but you came on to talk about that prop when it actually came out. And
yeah, Cody was actually one of the first ones from the show to reach out to us, and we talked, and he was going to let me know when he was ready. You had an issue with the lower unit or or something happened, right, Cody?
Yep.
So he got that. We fixed up his 3-blade for him, sent him the 5-blade. So yeah, through BTL, Cody got hooked up with us, and
nice.
Then he can take it from there and let you know his experience.
Yeah, I was that dude that was calling Todd saying, "Hey, when can I get my hands on this prop?" The fish that I do, everybody will remember if they get caught on the Great Lakes in 6 to 10 foot waves, because it's not fun. Like Frank's Buffalo tournament and his story, like, unless you know what you're doing out there and you're caught in that stuff, it's scary. And so I was always looking for an edge to make it safer, because I'm that weekend guy. Like, I can only go fishing when I can go fishing, and I'm going basically no matter what the weather or wind is, unless I think like, hey, this is life threatening, I'm gonna try to get out there. So I was just always looking for that, something extra, and finally got my hands on that prop, and right away Todd's like, let me know what you think about this thing. So I go out the first weekend, I get it, and it's sort of average weekend, not really rough, 2 to 3 footers. And I get out there, and at the same time, I had my new lower unit, so I'm sort of paying attention to not beating on that thing too hard. But, right away, I'm just noticing the little things different about the boat, and I trim her down, and I floor it, and immediately on pad, and the one thing I noticed right away that Frank had said was, I'm on plane at like 12, 11 miles an hour, which, I don't know. I'm pretty sure all the other guys that run bass boats are probably between 16 and 20. And the feeling of your boat on plane at 11 to 12 miles an hour is like, what's going on right now? Because I've never experienced it.
What are you running, Cody?
I got a 2019 Ranger 521.
Okay, so it's a big, heavy glass boat.
Oh yeah, it's all my buddies call it the aircraft carrier.
Okay.
Yeah. Mercury Pro XS 250, and that thing is, with that prop, that thing is immediately on plane, and like I was talking to Todd about, one of the most unbelievable things is cruising at 30, 40 miles an hour, and you jab it, and it's like you get sucked back in your seat, which is just unbelievable. So first weekend I run it, and I'm running through 2 or 3 footers, and it's great. I can put that boat wherever it needs to go immediately, and the whole shot's unbelievable. That mid-range is absolutely nuts, and it's making the boat easier to run through the rough water. And I called Todd, and I let him know, he's stoked to hear it, of course. Him and Frank put so much time into this thing, and it was worth it. But so probably the following weekend after that, same thing. I had taken the Friday off work, and I'm like, I'm going to go, up to Sturgeon Bay. That's where I spend the last 5 years. That's where I try to go every chance I get. I live about 3 hours from there. So I take Friday off. I head up, and I get there, light at the ramp. And what do you know? The wind report is wrong.
Figure.
Shocker.
Yeah. So, it's blowing. I'm fishing on the east side of the bay of Green Bay, essentially. That's where Sturgeon Bay is located. And I got a 20 out of the west. It's just, west and north on that bay is the worst one you can have for waves. So I'm like, well, whatever. I made the drive, and I'm going fishing. So I'm pulling out of the marina, just looking at everything. This is going to be a fun ride. I got about a 2-3 mile ride to where I'm going. And, you know, I don't really know that they're there. It's just the first looking spot, you know, without being able to get on the water every day. Finding fish in rough water is like, it's tough. But anyways, 2-3 mile run. And I come out of the marina and I get up on pad. And at this time, I'm probably running like a 45-degree angle to the waves. And they're pushing 6 foot.
Oof.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's rough. And I'm just feeling everything out. And I'm getting on pad and I'm running 45 to the waves. And right away, I'm just noticing, I'm like, this thing isn't stuffing waves as easy, which is fantastic. But in my head, I'm a gearhead. I'm trying to figure out what the boat is doing that's making it act this way. And whatever, I'm driving and they're splashing. They're coming up over the side of the boat and, you know, 48-degree water, probably something like that, 20-mile-an-hour wind. And, you know, hitting the boat, splashing up, and the wind blows it in. So it's wet and it's cold, but I'm not stuffing waves. To the point to where after like a minute of driving through this, where normally I'm hawkeyeing these waves and trying to put the boat where it's got to go, you know, I got the full rain suit on and everything. I basically just put the hood up, everything, tucked behind the windshield, and let her roll the whole way to the spot. Never stuffed one wave. So I get there, and I'm so jacked about what just happened. I'm like, I'm going to call Todd right now. Let him know. But I'm like, yeah, wind's blowing like 20. It's wet. I'm like, I'll wait till I get off the water. He's going to think I'm a nut. But yeah, you know, unfortunately, that day was not too good, fishing wise. I think I caught like, it was one of those days I caught like a 5 1/4 in the first 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, it's on. And it wasn't. I got
a smallmouth?
Yeah.
Well, dude, any day you catch a smallmouth over 5, even if it's your only bite, that's a good day on the water. Like, I know that your sense of reality is a little skewed based on where you are, but I'm just saying, any day you put your hands on a smallmouth over 5 pounds, you can't call that a bad day on the water.
You can't. But like you said, Matt, you get so used to how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
You catch 1 5-pounder, like, yeah, I caught 1 5-pounder. And all your buddies are like, dude, are you crazy? You know, like you're saying. But,
right.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. Okay. I probably caught 5 or 6. And honestly, I probably caught 20 pounds. But it was like this time of year, it's like you can get 100 bites and they're all 4 to 5 pounds, you know?
Good Lord. So are you leaving that prop on 365 now, or is that going to be a specific time period where you're going to throw that thing on just based on how you fish?
It'll be on more than it's not for sure. I was telling Frank, I'm like, it's going to be hard to take off because of, you know, where I fish. But in the summertime, the wind doesn't seem like it blows as bad. So, you know, I may run that 3-blade in the summertime a little bit. But, you know, it's one of those things where I carry the spare in my boat at all times, the prop wrench and the prop nut. And, you know, I might pull up to the ramp and change it that day if I see the wind report's wrong or it's blowing hard or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, when I go to Lake Erie, I always put the 5-blade on. I don't care if it's going to be glass flat. Yeah. Just because of my experience, I've been caught out there so many times that I just feel better. You know, I just, I mean, I just feel more comfortable. It truly makes driving your boat in that crap safer.
100%. That's the number one thing that I realized that day when I got, you know, when I went out there and that rough shit you did not have to try near as hard to drive your boat, which was very surprising to me because I'm like, it's a propeller. Like, I don't get it. But yeah.
Well, so having not driven a 5-blade before, is it a deal where anytime you feather the gas, you feel the power behind it? You don't get that when you're trying to go up them and stuff where you're like not climbing?
Never. It's like it's like you got a 4-wheel drive pickup truck with chains on the tires and you got that thing in 4-wheel drive. Like that's a great
analogy there.
It is going wherever you point that nose of the boat when you point it there, and it is going to accelerate the second you press that gas pedal. And I don't care what type of wave or water or whatever you're in. That is just what that prop does to the boat. And, you know, I talked to both Frank and Todd about this, and I in my head I still can't wrap my mind around what it's doing to make the boat act that way. But it is, and that to me that's why it's so mind blowing. It just does it and it goes.
Right.
Well, to your point, Cody. Cody normally runs, what is it, a 23 or 24 3-blade, Cody? Is that what it was? The Fury?
Yeah, 23 Tempest.
Oh, 23 Tempest. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, his normal load on smoother water is 65, 66 miles an hour, day in, day out.
Yes. Day in, day out.
Which is about right for that big boat, in normal load conditions. So, tell everybody what you did, and not that we're advertising this as a performance prop, because the safety of what you're talking about is what we're after.
Yep.
But let them know what it did do on the 2 to 3 footers compared to what your normal setup is.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like I had told you, Todd, I couldn't even stand in it for a while because I had talked to you and brand new lower unit. I didn't want to,
right, breaking it in still.
Yeah. So in a very short period of time with me, new prop, so I'm, checking out the trim, checking out my jack plate, where to sort of get it set right. But I was probably in it for 15 seconds at most, and I got my boat running a little over 61. So I'm guessing that, on a smooth, flat day, that I'm probably still going to run 63, once I get my everything dialed right.
So it's not like you gave up the farm to put this on.
Mm-hmm. No. Not
right
at
on. Right on.
Yeah, and let's be honest too. It speed wise doesn't do that for every boat. Like a lot of guys that are running go fast boats, they're not going to have the same speed as that 5-blade. But that 5-blade is built for power, very, very, very low slip rate. So you're always moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the boat handle in big waves so much nicer. Like with my boat in 2 to 3 footers, I can literally just run 60 miles an hour and not beat my brains out. The boat just goes toot, 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 toot.
That was the big thing too, Frank, is how smooth it makes the boat ride smoother,
Right.
Well, to your point, Cody, we were talking about this a little bit, and you were like, "Oh, I can't wrap my head around about what's going on and what are the physics behind it." A 3-blade propeller, especially a Tempest or Fury, those are bow lifting props. Okay, so there really is no prop that lifts the bow or lifts the tail. Two things happen: you either get a prop that pushes the ass end of the boat down, which in turn raises the bow, or you get a prop that lifts the back end of the boat up, which lowers the bow. The 5-blade is more of a tail lifting prop. So when you can ride level, you're letting that V and you're letting the keel of that boat and the design of that rough water feature of your particular hull do the work for you. Where your 3-blade is constantly pushing the back end of the boat down and you're getting this. Okay. When you can be here and cut through with the keel of the boat and stay dry, that's the right attitude that you're looking for. So that's the physics behind what you felt.
Yeah, and that's why there's little angles and all the different cuts in the hull of the boat, because depending on what manufacturer it is, they figured this is the best way to channel the water away for the ride. So you're actually letting it do what it was designed to do by bringing the back end up, and actually in this case having more water or more boat in the water as opposed to less.
Correct. Now for top speed, completely different story.
Yeah, but we're not looking for top speed. We're looking for safety.
We're looking for safety and ride with exactly what Cody was.
That makes a lot of sense. That's why it's not just that's why there's different designs with holes and different guys who design different holes, and there's rough water holes and holes that are designed for speed.
Correct.
No question.
Like because like Ryan experienced almost the same speed he was running when we put the 5-blade on his boat.
Yeah, actually, I think it ran the best out of all the wheels that we tried. Now, his was a little bit different just because he was a little bit lower on the RPM, and this one brought the RPM closer to 6,200 with his 250. So
he was in that power band.
He was in that power band because he is that is such a big boat, loaded up so heavy that if you're turning a 22 Bravo or a 23 or 4 Fury at 5,600, you're not in the power band of that 4-stroke motor. You get it to 6,000 to 6,200, the motor feels way more alive. More alive.
Matt, keep that up. So Kyle just texted in, would you expect any different type of performance on a smaller boat like a 19.5?
Absolutely not. Everything, Kyle, would be exactly like we're describing here, and could actually even be a little bit better because you're not as big as heavy.
Yeah, I can see that.
What about an aluminum boat?
aluminum boat, flats boat. We're starting to get into some more testing, Matt, with different guys with down like in the Keys, where you've got to get up and plane in 6-8 inches of water, where the back end of the boat doesn't sink down and get to the bottom.
Right.
And
it pushes you up.
Yep. So yeah, it really doesn't know a hull; it knows a purpose.
Ooh, AI.
I was laughing when Cody was talking about the wrong forecast. I had to go back in my notes. I don't know if either of you guys listened to the show. There it is, right there, where we did Frank's biggest pet peeves in bass fishing. I feel like we should revisit that because the number one is wrong forecast.
I mean, I took the day off work and drove 3 hours. Like I'm not going.
You're dunking it. You're dunking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, at least your boat ramp wasn't plowed shut.
Well, that was the number 3 thing: lack of courtesy at the boat ramp, which that 100% falls under the lack of courtesy at the boat ramp. He had wrong forecast, being late without extenuating circumstances, just being late for the fact of, oh, sorry, I just got out of the house late. Not what you want to do. At least come up with a good excuse, like I had a flat tire or something of that nature. Even if you didn't, I would recommend.
Oh, dude, when I was on tour, dude, I had a couple of non-boaters that were late.
Yeah, I had not a good start.
No, I drew first flight, and I couldn't launch my boat till last flight because they were late.
Not good.
Yeah.
The bite changes for no apparent reason. Forced to throw a lure for the camera. People fishing too close. A crowded lake. You don't have what you want to try in the boat. Clueless pleasure boaters. Aggressive trollers. Pet rod fishermen. And people who cut you off going the same way down a bank. Those were the list of Frank's pet peeves. But so I think I got like 9 out of 11.
Why are you bringing this back up?
Because Cody was talking about the wrong forecast, about how he's like, of course the weather guy was wrong. I get there and it's blowing 20, and that reminded me that was one of your biggest pet peeves based on where you live in the country. Was the guy who's, it's going to be a beautiful balmy day out. You get there and it's just gusting.
Dude, this is like the forecast on all of the Great Lakes. So whenever you look up the forecast, if it says 10 to 20, you just add them together.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you got to do. Just add them together.
Yeah.
If it's not coming out of the south, it's rough.
Yeah.
Right.
Period. End of story.
While we're on, we got to get this done. We'll hold on to the struggle. Go ahead. What were you saying, Cody?
I said I got south and east by me. If the wind blows out of the south or it blows out of the east, which it hardly ever blows out of.
Yep.
You're good to fish where I fish all the time. But yeah, north and west. Done.
Same on Lake Erie.
Okay, so
back to important questions. Drunkwood wants to know, if your wife says not to buy her anything for the holidays, do you not buy her anything, or is this a trap? That is a great question.
I'm gonna
get her a 5-blade.
Yeah, get her. So I'm going to be very disgustingly honest with you. I say that every year because I don't want anyone to buy me anything. So I say, don't get me anything. All right. I've said that for my birthdays, holidays, whatever. I don't want my kids buying me nothing. Just come over, have a couple beers with me, and let's just yuck it up. So one year I was telling my wife that because all the kids, they were all in school doing their thing. I said, we're just going to give them money. They don't need to open a present. They don't need a present. What they need is money. So we're just going to get them money. And she says, well, I don't need anything either. I don't need a gift either. So I'm like, cool. So I didn't buy one. And I pretty much paid for it till the next Christmas. So my advice to you is, I don't care what she says, buy her something.
I agree.
Because it's a trap. It's always a trap.
So Matt, back to his pet peeves. I can't tell you another one of Frank's biggest pet peeves.
Oh,
we were down. This was probably 2 years ago. This is the guy with the jet ski, Frank.
Remember, no names of the lakes.
No. And we were down there, and it's late. December 11th. Was it?
You could
December
say Lake Erie, and
it was December. It was December.
That might be Frank's number one pet peeve. Is
number one, naming lakes, 100%.
Cody, I know props, not fishing protocol, man. You can't blame it on me.
That's true.
So we get down there and we start going, and it's a decent day, like 45, 50 degrees. And we have a big 2-lane ramp, and then there's a dock, and then there's a single lane ramp. So we're in the big double. So there is literally 2 lanes available. This guy backs in with a jet ski.
Yeah, with Van Halen blasting.
With Van Halen blasting, this, that, whatever. And he backed down the ramp, and you could have not put a credit card between his truck and Frank's truck.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we go to get out of the water. He's so close to the dock because it's so shallow. We had to back down so far. He can't even get in his truck. When he turned around and looked at me, that is definitely going to make the list of one of his pet peeves.
Oh, yeah.
Courtesy at the ramp.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was not happy. I'm like, Jesus, you've got 10 feet you could have moved over, and you have a whole nother ramp free.
2 of them.
Clear.
2 other ramps.
Right. And it was, and I mean, like, skinned me going in.
And then we had to go tow him in.
Cody,
Yeah, and then
do
we
you
had to
deal
tow
with
him
that
in.
stuff at Sturgeon Bay? Or, I mean, are you like pretty much always by yourself out there? Or are there like areas where everyone will go fish in like a little segment? Because in my experience, like even on Ontario, yeah, there's areas, but like, dude, there's no one around you ever.
So it depends on the time of year, right? Like in springtime, the fishing is so good in certain areas that there is boats stacked on top of each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. In the spring, the Great Lakes is ludicrous.
And I'm not talking about spawning fish. I'm talking about pre-spawn before that. Like, there's only so many areas and there's so many guys that they do stack. But, the rest of the year, you're not really fishing on top of each other. And in terms of boat traffic, holiday weekends.
No, never.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, that's about.
I did want to get in a little fishing here, and I don't know if you guys know it, but we'll leave this up to Frank. And I think maybe the fishing has been a little suspect over the last few days. And I don't know how much you're going to be able to dive into this, Frank, but please inform us about how to catch fish during a beaver moon.
Should I grab my notebook, Matt?
The beaver moon is coming.
Okay, so
And here, that's some interesting wording. And here is what you should know. The significance of the beaver moon. I mean, I'm thinking that this might be why the crappie were not biting, because they were enamored with the beaver moon. So hit us with the knowledge, Frank.
okay, I have no knowledge of that because this is the first I've heard of this said moon. And I'm going to be very delicate and careful going down this road of no return. So I have no flipping idea about this moon.
What type of moon? The beaver moon?
The beaver moon.
Why are you even nervous talking about this? This is a natural phenomenon.
I never heard of it before.
You ever heard of the beaver moon, Cody?
I can't say I have. How about you?
All right. It's attributed to Native American groups in North America, specifically those in the northeastern United States. I figured you guys would be beaver moon aficionados, being from the Northeast Ohio, deeply attuned to the natural world.
Yeah, I'm very attuned to the natural world, but never heard of that.
I actually got engaged on the beaver moon that night.
Really? I'm thinking that
32 years of bliss, Matt. Can't beat it.
Oh, thank God this isn't the late night show.
All right. Oh my God. Anything else we're leaving out here? Actually, Todd, like I said, you're not going to sell this prop. You were just talking about the benefits of having it. I will give you that opportunity though through Hydro Sport. Are there any of these things left? I know you had a limited run of them.
Yeah, we're good. We've got plenty of stock. We understand that it's not the hot time of the year right now, but Frank and I can sit here and talk, Matt, till we're blue in the face about what we felt and what we did. Having one of your listeners come on and tell his experience that matches what we felt and what we've tested is proof in the pudding. But we've got plenty, and we're looking forward to taking care of a lot more BTL listeners with the same experience that Cody had.
Best way to get a hold of you. I do this every time.
Hydromotive.com.
Hydromotive.
Hydromotive.com, and the phone numbers will be right on the website.
There you go. And then Cody, I didn't realize that you heard about this through BTO. I just thought you heard it. So thank you for watching and listening to the show.
The reason that I pulled Cody in because I was talking to him about the prop, and he was telling me the story when he got caught out there. And I thought it's one thing if I tell a story of rough water driving, but it's another thing if somebody who's never experienced that prop before talks about it, because when I tell you that it's a safety issue as well. When Cody said that he felt so much more comfortable driving it, I said, don't tell me anything else. I'm going to pull you in on the show. And you tell the audience what you thought about it.
How old are you? You look like you're about 21. Like, how much experience do you have on the Great Lakes?
Well, I'm getting to the point now where I take that as a compliment, but I'm actually 28 going on 29.
How'd you learn to go out there? I mean, was this just a thing where you've got a big pair of balls and we're like, I'm going to go when I got to go? Or did you have someone that kind of showed you the ropes? Cause I mean, dude, like that's scary. I've done it 1 or 2 times. And I remember like, it's very few times where you realize the power of nature, and the Great Lakes is one of those where you're like, dear God, like there's nothing like, I mean, I'm very insignificant right now in the grand scheme of this lake.
So to answer your question, Matt, very big balls. And that was a joke.
during the Beaver Moon.
Yeah.
He's 29. They haven't dropped yet. But
I mean, did you have someone that was like, hey, here's how you freaking ride these 8-footers, or did you figure that stuff out on your own?
Dude, I wish I could say I did, but honestly, driving from 3 hours, I got so addicted to that place that, it was more just like my lack of knowledge and not understanding actually how dangerous it was. And then next thing you know, you're just out there and you figure out how to get back to the ramp. It is what it is. But that's pretty much it.
And then a couple of people wanting to know, are we in like what type of truck are we in? Can you talk about that and kind of what you do? Maybe give a little plug if you want to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do heating and air conditioning, and I'm based out of Illinois, like Chicagoland area. I live in McHenry, Illinois. If anyone is from that range, I know you're from Illinois.
I'm from Decatur, Illinois, but isn't that's way up north. It's like a different world. Central and Southern Illinois is a different world. It's like 2 different states.
Totally. But yeah, I'm out of Chicagoland, and I work for an amazing company. That's why I'm sitting here on BTL with you guys right now. I'm at work right now, and I ran everything through my boss. Man, you're good to go. He knows how crazy I am about fishing.
Yeah.
Do you want to give him a shameless plug?
Like I said, I don't want to get you in trouble or your boss in trouble, but if you want to give him a shameless plug, I know we have a lot of listeners in that neck of the woods.
Definitely, yeah. If you guys need any heating and air conditioning needs whatsoever, I work for Direct Mechanical. And you guys can either, Google the company and call them directly, or you can get on Instagram and just message me, and we can figure that out.
Is that out of Schaumburg?
Yeah, exactly. It's out of Schaumburg.
All right, here, I'll pull it. I'll even pull it up right there. Is that it? No, that's Direct.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I am so lucky to work where I work, guys. I fish 2 tournaments here. I fish the Sturgeon Bay Open in the spring, and I fish the fall event that the same organization holds. And they sponsor me, man. They give me the time off to go do it, and help me out along the way, and I couldn't be more grateful for them. They're fantastic people.
Perfect.
That's awesome that they take an interest in what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
fantastic, and thank you. That was some good stuff.
Thanks, Matt.
What else do we have going on here? We didn't even plan this.
Well, we got the winter thing, and I could. It's not that long.
Okay. I mean, you guys are Todd, Cody, you're welcome to stick around for it. If you guys have to do stuff, you got to get back to work, Cody. You could bail, and then Frank and I can continue to bloviate about the Beaver Moon for a short amount of time.
Yeah,
you didn't see that one coming.
Didn't see it.
If everyone's good, are you out, Todd, or are you staying?
I'm gonna get out, but I'll add one more thing that I forgot to say. Inside, make sure your trailer tires have about 5 or 10 more pounds than what you normally would put in them for towing, just so you don't get flat spots over the winter time if it's going to sit for 4 or 5 months at a time.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you for saying that, because I forgot to mention to watch your tire pressures because they decrease as the weather gets colder.
They do. And Cody, thanks a lot for jumping in, man. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate you coming on telling your story.
Thanks,
of course,
Cody.
man. Todd, great. Yeah, every time I call you, it's when you guys call Hydromotive Engineering, it's Todd who answers the phone, and he's great to work with. So thank you, and thanks, Frank.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Matt, good seeing you. And if I don't see you guys, have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Too, bud.
All right, guys, be good. Frank.
Yeah.
I cut Todd off.
That's okay. That's all right.
You gotta get back to work too, Cody.
Yeah, I probably do.
All right, I appreciate it. Don't forget your phone is in do not disturb mode, so you have to take it out of do not disturb mode, or else you'll be like, dang, I haven't had a call all day, and then when you take it off, it's gonna be a nightmare. I've done that before.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks,
Cody. Right, thanks, dude.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
And then there were two.
And now we're two.
You didn't know I was going to spring the beaver moon on you, did you?
No, dude. You find stuff that is so funny I can't even stand.
But that really was the beaver moon, and that is why I don't think that I caught any crappie. They were acting so weird. They were on the bottom. They were not eating. I think it was the beaver moon.
Well, here, let's talk about that for a minute, because on the full moon stages that the fish feed a lot at night.
Even when it's cold? I always thought that was like warm, but that's even cold and muddy.
Even when it's cold.
Really?
Yeah, because it's brighter out. Especially on clear lakes, the visibility is still very good. And they feed a lot at night during the full moon. And so I'm almost wondering if that's not the case.
It would have to be the case, because it would have to be the case.
Dude, I crappie fished with you, and when you see them and you drop that Bobby Garland on them, they eat it.
We saw 2 in 4 hours. 2.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So they had to be on the bottom then, especially on that lake we're at. It's not like they're sucked to the cover. They're either on the bottom or they're suspended. That's it.
Right. They're either down or they're in the water column somewhere.
Yeah.
So one thing that I want to talk about, because winter fishing is fun but dangerous. You have to have the proper winter clothing with you. Now, I'm of the mindset a float suit is a must. A lot of companies make them. You don't necessarily need a float suit. I have a striker suit, the Predator, and it was recommended to me by a good friend of mine. He's a guide in Upper Canada, and he's a hunting guide and a fishing guide and an ice fishing guy. And he said that that's the best suit that he's ever found to keep you warm and everything. So I said, okay, I'm going for it. I'm getting that suit. And so I got it. I got it a couple years ago, and it has been like, I wear the bibs and I just wear jeans under them because it's literally warm. It stops the wind 100%. It's 100% rainproof. And if I fall in it, I can float, which is critical. I was fishing with a buddy of mine, Bob, in January, and we were fishing a discharge, a hot water discharge, and I slipped off the gunnel of the boat.
Oof.
And I went in, and I was wearing my deer hunting jumpsuit, which is very warm in the winter. That's why I wore it. But I sunk like a brick.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I could not get myself to keep above the water. And he had grabbed the back of my collar when I went in. And so then I grabbed onto the side of the boat and got on my outboard, stood on the outboard, trimmed the motor up, and hopped in the back of the boat. So I recommend the float suit. Now, you don't need it, but I recommend it. So the other thing that is very important is I keep a large towel in the boat and an extra winter suit in the boat. Now, my extra suit will just be a deer hunting suit. It won't be a float suit. because I could roll it up tighter and get it in the compartment, but an extra suit. That day that I went in, I had the extra suit with me and a towel. I dried off, stripped down, got in the other deer hunting suit, and fished for 4 more hours. If I didn't have that, I would have been hypothermic by the time we got back to the boat ramp. So it's very important to not screw around in the wintertime. And wintertime up here, there's usually snow and ice, but wintertime down south, it could still be 30 degrees, 34 degrees. And the water temperatures in the low 40s, you only have about 8 or 9 minutes in the water before you get hypothermia. So you have to remember
less than that.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And so that's crazy. So now while you're fishing, okay, when I'm backing down to the ramp in the winter, I never unhook the bow hook on the boat.
I have seen that. I saw one this year sitting on the dang ramp.
Yeah, because the bunks freeze and the boat will slide right off of them. And so I never unhook the bow eye until the boat is actually, the tires are in the water on the ramp. And then I get out and unhook the bow eye and slide the boat off. While I'm fishing, my deck is completely uncluttered. It's the time of year where literally I'll have 1 or 2 rods on the deck of the boat and nothing else, because I don't want to trip on anything. And in cold weather, especially here where it could be, 20 degrees, 19 degrees, if you step on one of your rods, they're brittle and they'll just break. The other thing you never do, which I learned the hard way, is you never put your foot on the gunnel of the boat when you're going to land a fish or fight a fish. You always stay on the carpeting. You never touch that fiberglass. And then here's the big key. When I'm taking the boat out, I hook the bow eye up before we even start moving up the ramp. I hook the bow eye up and make sure it's tight and locked. If I have to, on some of the lakes, you have to kind of stand on the side of your trailer to pull the line down to hook it up because they're not steep enough ramps. Never stand on your trailer rail because you will slip and go right in the lake and it's freezing cold. I open the plug, take the plug out, open all the live wells. Well, I never close my live wells in the winter, but I leave the live wells open. I pull the boat up so it's on the incline of the ramp, the steepest part of the ramp, trim the motor all the way down, let it drip, trim it up a little bit, trim it up a little bit more, let it drip, trim it back down and let all the water out of it, leave all the live wells open, plugs open, and I'll leave it there till there's no more water dripping out of that boat. And then I'll pull up, hook everything up, and take the boat home. But that's the best advice I can give you guys. And in winter is no time to mess around. You have got to have extra clothes. You've got to have a towel in that boat.
It's good advice. Thanks for getting those. Thanks for getting Todd and Cody lined up too. That was a good show today.
Yeah, that was completely spur of the moment. I had spoken with Cody a couple of times, and he was telling me the story. So he didn't elaborate as much on air, and it's probably just nerves for the first time being in a platform like this.
Promising. There's nothing nervous about being on BTL, Frank.
Oh, dude, I'm nervous every day. And so I was more nervous coming down and fishing with you than doing on this show.
You were nervous coming down and fishing with me?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect.
You were like, what if this guy sucks?
No, that's not at all what I was thinking. I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing was when I got down there, we kind of screwed off for a couple hours. We went out to eat.
Yeah.
We were in no hurry. And then you go, hey, I got an idea. We got 2 hours of daylight left. Let's go crappie fishing. And I'm like, oh, good. That's just what I want to do now. You know what I mean? It was freezing cold out. And so I'm like, sure, let's go. And then sure enough, you're like, oh, there's one. You can have the first one. And I'm like, oh, okay. Whack. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
0 the other day. 0. Not 0 on Tuesday. Not 1.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, I get it. I think your water temp's still just a smidge warm.
Yeah, I would agree. I would like it to be about 41 instead of 51.
I'll bet you they're still on brush.
Yeah, the one that I did find was very close to one of the few pieces of things in that lake.
Yeah. Yeah, that lake has very few pieces of anything in it.
Huh. So, you have a good Thanksgiving? I didn't talk to you last week. Was Thanksgiving? Did you do the whole SCALISH thing?
Well, we did the half a thing. My wife's side of the family was here. My daughter came home from California for a little while, which was nice. And then she brought a little kitten with her.
Oh no!
Well, she didn't. She didn't bring the kitten with her. She informed me she was going out to get a kitten, and I said, "No, I don't want another cat. We're down to one cat. I want to keep it at one."
Bama.
Yeah, Bama. I want to keep it that way. And then her and my wife decided they were going to take a little road trip, and they came home real sneaky like. And then all of a sudden, there's this little tiny fluff ball meowing around the house.
Is it? Is it up there with you? It's not. It's not within snatching distance.
No, I'll grab the little thing next week.
Okay.
No, it's not. I was finally happy to be down to one.
Yeah.
One cat, and then now I'm back to 2, and I'm like,
you got 15 more years with this one,
right?
Or will it?
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, the holidays were good. I'm not a holiday guy to begin with.
I'm not really either.
I'm really not. I don't. I'm all about the family. I'd rather.
I'm not a Scrooge by any means. This was the first year though that court was like, "Hey, why don't you have a tree?" And I was like, "Well, it's a valid question." So we went and spent $220, and I've got a Christmas spread now. And I tell you what, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I put the tree up. I'm glad I've got the lights. I got a little bit of garland, some accent lighting on it. Very pleased with it. Really, best decision I've ever made was to get somewhat festive this year. First year I've ever done it.
Well, because it keeps you like, if you're like me, the minute the winter hits, my moods change. And so, yeah, Frankie, I'm getting you a puppy for Christmas. Yeah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
A St. Bernard puppy, Frankie.
Yeah, that's not happening. But
an Irish wolfhound.
Yeah, I don't want a dog that goes to the bathroom bigger than I do.
That is, depends. That could be a wide range, Frank.
No.
Anyway,
I love dogs beyond belief.
Mm-hmm.
I really love dogs, but my schedule, I don't want to have to take care of it. Dogs require a lot of work. And I'm not around enough, song about the beaver moon. I think that was Neon Moon. I'm never arguing with that guy because he got me out of a jackpot. He's my new hero.
Yeah. Hey, Drunkwood, is it too late if people want to get on and order authentic Kentucky bourbon barrel art and furniture for Christmas? Is it too late to hit you up on Etsy or your social medias and do that for a one of a kind gift? That'd be a solid gift, right? Oh, today is the last day.
Yeah.
So if you want anything from Drunkwood, check out his social media, Drunkwood INKY on Etsy. Drunkwood. I don't know if he has a website or what.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I need to talk to you anyway, Mr. Drunkwood.
Oh, Facebook, Drunkwood too. Midnight, it shuts down when the beaver moon is atop the sky.
I don't
Yeah.
even know. I don't even know how you find this stuff you look at, dude. Honestly, God,
Sometimes it just comes to me. Sean, that is a good question about the merch store. I will 100% take the fall of that. I've got a little bit behind on that. We have like 2 more proofs and a couple little bit of changes. I will get on the horn today after the show and see exactly when we can get that thing open. But that's on me, not Frank. And Frank said, "Hey, that's
yes, yes, okay, guys." The winners of the pumpkin contest, I need your addresses. So that would be Brady McCombs and Jay Winkler. You have to somehow either email Matt at Bass Zone your addresses or DM me your
mailing addresses. If you have Instagram, DM Frank Scalish your mailing addresses.
Yeah, Frank.
Brady and Jay. One of them was the BTL and one of them was the etching, the carbon etching.
Right, because I have the baits for you guys. I just can't. I have nowhere to send them. So that's
what is that? A set of fat custom painted Fat Boys and DD22s?
Yeah,
for each?
both. I got both for each. I got a full set of DD22s and a full set of Fat Boys for each. I think it might be 14 baits if I'm not mistaken. 14 baits each.
So 28 baits total.
Yeah. So
you got anything else, Frank? You got any busy weeks, or are we just plodding along until Christmas? I know we'll be back live next week on Thursday. I think you have some breaking news, some things that you're going to announce next Thursday that people might want to be interested in.
Yeah, next Thursday is going to be really trick. I'm really proud. I've been doing I've been painting a lot. So I haven't been fishing as much, and you'll know that because my Instagram page has been, let's just say, lacking of activity. That's about to change because I got everything painted that I needed to get painted. But I'm really happy. I did an FX series of colors, a Legend FX series, and a Signature series.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. I spent a lot of time on this stuff to create stuff that is a little different than what you've been used to seeing in the marketplace. And there's a lot of science behind it. So, but we'll get into that next Thursday. I'll actually have some of the colors to show you. But I can only show you the colors that are going to release. I'm not going to show you upcoming colors because, just
that's reasonable.
I have to protect it from, copying until it's actually released, and then whatever.
This is just a sample of some of the stuff. That's like the stuff Drunkwood does. So that's like Kentucky, the state of Kentucky, cut out of an actual bourbon barrel, and then you can put that on your wall and put your beverages of choice on it. That's just one of the many things I would recommend if it makes for a great gift. I've got some buddies that have done it. He sent me actually my house numbers in the shape of a cutout bass on a bourbon barrel. I've got a BTL live, laugh, dink and dunk thing in the studio right here. So
that's sweet. That's good. He does good stuff. He does really good stuff.
Drunkwood said, my wife just bought some boxes from the mailman, delivered some screws and work stuff. One is an Omnia box. She has no clue. Winning. She just helped him deliver some fishing tackle, and he got out of it scot-free.
That's one thing I don't have an issue with ever. Never, ever. If I say I'm going fishing, I go. If I say there's going to be a box dropped off at the house, bring it inside.
I don't know if I can.
It comes
this.
inside.
Go ahead. Keep going. I'm going to try to get this thing off.
You have to unhook everything. Don't drop it when you get it. Ready?
So this is what it's made out of. There's the bourbon barrel, and then I don't think this is a bourbon barrel. This is a piece of wood. But here, I'll go big screen here.
Go big. Go big or go home. Live, laugh, dink, and dunk.
He made that for me. Drunkwood did. Just showed up one day.
That's good.
Yeah, with the BTL and the etching. So it goes right here.
So you put it on the wall.
Actually put a hanger on it, which is my biggest pet peeve when you get like a nice piece of artwork and then there's no freaking hanger on it and you have to do it yourself and you end up learning new language.
Are you yelling at a guy who just gave you a gift?
No, he did. I said he did. That's what I like.
Came with the hanger.
Look at the back. It's got.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you just hang it up.
That's how you do it.
Boom, back in business.
Back in business.
Should I do a studio walkthrough, you think? You think that would be you think people would like that?
Yeah, I think you should.
At some point.
I did my workstation walkthrough, did I not? Oh no, I just did photographs. Because if I bring the computer downstairs, I will lose service the minute I get down to the third step. We
barely got through the cooking with Frank Childs.
I know. I watched that thing after and there was it glitched a lot.
Yeah, but not bad. The audio was good. You still had a good picture. I think it worked good.
But I'm gonna get what do they call them?
A booster?
A booster box.
Or a hotspot.
And then I'm gonna hook directly to the booster box. So that'll save for the next cooking episode, which I believe I said we were gonna do salmon on the next one.
That'll work. You got anything else today, Frank, before we ride off into the sunset?
No, we have to ride off into the sunset.
Well, you got something to do?
I have a meeting.
Oh. All right. Well, good luck with the meeting, Frank. Thank you to Todd and Cody. Check out Hydromotive
Engineering.
Hydromotive Engineering for your 5-blade prop, any prop basically, but if you want to deal with the 5 props. And then also, Cody, that was nice, direct mechanical heating and air conditioning there in the Chicagoland area. No job is too big for them to handle. 847-352-0782 to have Cody come out, tell you deep big water stories and fix your heating and air conditioning.
Right, dude, did you see how clean the inside of that truck was?
It was spotless.
I have never been in a work vehicle that clean.
That is a sign that they do good work, is it not?
It is. It really is. That's my brother's body shop was like that. He was like a stickler for keeping it clean.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. This has been another edition of Day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH. Same place, same time, 1 week from today. We'll see you then. Later.